Today's episode is one of the most powerful episodes we've recorded in a long time. It's going to get into the depths of this ultimate balance that we as business owners have to face. It's this family business balance. How do we do it? How do we do it successfully so that we don't rob from our families in order to build a business that nobody wants to be part of? Or how do we make sure our family feels like they're heard and understood and that they're part of this journey along with us? Today, Wes Roberts and I from Wes Roberts Landscaping are going to be sharing our stories on how we, over the last 20 years or so in business apiece, that we've helped that balance and created that balance in our families. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. And at the very end, I'm going to give you a tool in order to help you understand your spouse and your family better so that you can show up better for them and they can be more of a cheerleader for you on your business journey so they can be what empowers you to take that empire that you started to the next level. So you're not going to want to miss this. Listen all the way to the end. Hello, and welcome to Outer Spaces, a podcast dedicated to empowering designers and contractors in the outdoor living space. Through this show, I hope to create a powerful resource for you, someone who is trying to grow their company but might not have all the tools and processes to do so. On Outer Spaces, we're passionate about breaking the chains of small mindsets and helping contractors just like you take control of their businesses and their lives. My name is Joshua Gillow, and through my 25 years of dirt under the nails experience, I look forward to sharing tips, strategies, and other contractor success stories here on the Outer Spaces podcast. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, welcome back to the Outer Spaces podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow, and this episode is sponsored by Yes Express, where we teach you how to get more yeses with less stress. So today, we have the owner of Wes Roberts Landscaping on. He's also a conqueror of a 14,000-foot peak in Colorado. He's a badass, part of our tribe. Wes Roberts, what's going on, brother?
Hey. Glad to be here. Another beautiful, sunshiny day.
Man, Shoot.
No, yeah, I'm sitting in a parking lot behind a Starbucks right now, trying to be quiet.
Did you get your Starbucks first?
I did get my Starbucks first, but
nice.
But just enough. I didn't want to have to leave the podcast to use the men's room, so I'm good. I'm ready to go, man.
Perfect. Hey, I love all your posts of getting out in nature. You've been hiking a lot now since Colorado, and I love seeing that, man. What does nature do for you as a business owner?
You know, it's funny. In the kind of hiking that we're doing, so we just did 20 miles and slept out in the cold for a couple of days, and my thermarest was leaking, so I actually had to sleep on the ground. That was rough, but it's they're challenging too. So I always, when I go out, it's nice to get away. Number one, just to kind of calm the mind and drain away all the noise. But I always come home with a lesson. I always come home with something. Every single time, and sometimes multiple times, like the Colorado trip. There's multiple things, but just came back with some nuggets. I don't know, man. The hills give it to me. That's so.
Now, what were some of those nuggets, if you don't mind sharing, from this past trip?
Well, so this last one, it was funny. We came upon this. I think it's reishi mushroom, and I know a little bit more than the person that I was hiking with. And I knew enough that it was a reishi mushroom. He said, "What is that for?" I said, it's, man, it's one of those mushrooms that cures whatever ails you. If you got a headache, if you're this, that, constipated, whatever it is, that reishi mushroom's the one. And then I was really enjoying my hike, but actually work crept in. And I was stressed out about some things that I had buried and I really hadn't thought about. And they resurfaced and started to stress me out. And so I said, man, I can't believe I hadn't attended to those things. And I'd subconsciously been carrying these stressors, these anxieties. So I said, man, I gotta go home. I gotta sit and meditate and just kind of try to regurgitate up these things that I'm carrying subconsciously that's ailing me. So it was just like, the message was, you need to cure what's ailing you. And so I came home and I was like, first thing I'm doing, bang, we're doing this thing, boom, boom, boom. And these things are done. And so I'm lighter.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought you were going to tell me a different story about mushrooms, but that's different. That would have been interesting.
That's Outer Spaces After Dark.
Yeah.
That's a different podcast.
Totally. Well, today, Wes, I want to dive into a subject that most of us and as business owners deal with, some very closely, some at a distance, some in different levels of intensity. But it's balancing, family and business. I know over my last 25 years in business, it's been a struggle at times when I start to get so focused on business and growth that I start to alienate myself from my family. And I know that, most of us out there have experienced that at some point. I wanted to have a conversation with you. And I know you've been in business a very long time as well, and how you've gone, the ups and downs and how you're managing those things, and to help have a bigger conversation with our industry about how to reprioritize our time. So, Wes, have you found that to be a thing that you've dealt with over your career?
Oh man, yeah, huge, big battle.
How long have you been married now, Wes?
Let's see, it would be 15 years, 14 or 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time, ups and downs, struggles, and actually recently, we're going to counseling right now. It was started because of a different matter, but it has tied into work for sure. Mm-hmm. And we're making a lot of progress, and we're actually the best we've ever been in 24 years. So it's nice. Actually, what was the one little litmus test for it was when I went away to this camping trip this last weekend. My wife and I both felt the emotions of missing the other person.
Wow.
Like we haven't done that since we dated. It's just been like, man, I can't wait to get away from her, get away from him. And, I need a break or, whatever it is. We actually missed each other. And I'll tell you, like, I sat there with that emotion. I'm like, it sucks, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's great that we're having these feelings again. So, it's a long, hard ride, man.
No, no doubt. And, oftentimes, when we start business and our biggest goal is to make it succeed, and we're willing to throw just about everything we've done in the past under the bus just to make sure that we don't have to deal with the fact that we could fail. That's the biggest fear, right? As business owners, is this constant voice in your head that either you're not enough, or do you even have what it takes to do this? Or what happens if you fail? What will your family think? What will your friends think? What will your, fill in the blank? Like, oh my goodness, like it's just not an option, especially for men. Our egos kick in and we just can't fail. So we're willing to take, and I'm as guilty as anybody of this over my career, of taking the focus away from my family and getting more into, or even my health or fitness, those kinds of things, and putting it all in to the business side of things so that I don't have to deal with that. But the problem is that our families don't always see our need to succeed in business, because they see it as a means to an end sometimes, right? They'll see it as a like, okay, that's what he does or she does during the day, but why can't they disconnect when they come home? Why is that text constantly ringing? Why is the phone ringing? Why are they not present at dinner? Why are they not even at dinner? Why are they out chasing all these jobs? And they must be making money because they're never home. But then at the end of the year to look at the bank account and be like, damn, like we just made it through, but I stole from my family the whole year so I didn't have to deal with the fact that I might need some help.
Yeah.
You ever feel that?
Oh, 1,000%. And I mean, it's complicated. There's a lot. I mean, everybody's an individual, and we all have one thing in common, that we all have fear of failure for sure. Like every entrepreneur, I would think most have that fear of failure, but after going to the counseling and doing this, there's a little bit, it's complicated. So myself, I have just I've sacrificed my life. It's 7 days a week. Man, I've done that for years. Very, very, very little time off at all. Coming home and not being the most pleasant person. Giving them the scraps of time that were left, and not very quality, the amount of time that I was there with them. So that's it's not fair to them, and it's not fair really to ourselves. We work this long and this hard, and we sacrifice. I've thrown away all my hobbies, all my free time. It's just work. That's the way it's been. for a very long time until recently. Um, I've it I just and for me the journey started with just a question, and I don't know how it came up, but like, do you love yourself or do you take care of yourself? And I never looked at it like, no, to me, I'm just a disposable soldier in this fight. Like, I don't care about my personal life or whatever. I'm fighting to be a successful owner so that I can provide financially for my family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. I really don't care about me. But once I started tapping into that, like, hey man, it's okay to have a life. It's okay to like who you are. It's okay to be proud of yourself and the things that you've done. It's hard. It goes against my grain 1,000%. But I just started to let go a little bit. And so I've been doing things. I have a life now. Things can wait, if it's just taking control. It's time management of the business better than I've been doing it before, and time for my family too, big time. So we've been doing stuff now, man. Every weekend we're going someplace new and just kind of making up for lost time. So the journey started with me of just taking care of myself and trying to learn how to love myself, which I don't know that I do yet now that I'm talking out loud, but I have taken it a hell of a lot easier on myself.
Yeah.
I still bust my ass. I guess I'm just a little more efficient at work. Maybe I'm working a little smarter than harder, because
Yeah.
it was certainly hard the way I was doing it.
No, no doubt.
And that's what I say too, is like, if you don't love your life, you're doing it wrong. And so just got to switch things up. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I've
No,
been
it's
loving it.
no, that's
Yeah.
good. I'm glad to see that you're making that progress, because it took me way too long to learn that as well. Where I
Yeah.
just pour everything into the business because it's the one thing that screams the loudest and it's the biggest egg in your face
Yeah.
if it fails, right? And if you have to go back with your tail between your legs to your family and say, I stole a lot of time from you for the last few years and I've got nothing to show for it, that is like
Right.
the biggest kick in the nuts you can possibly get, right? And to
Right.
think, a lot of times our families tolerate this because they think, and the question always for them and everybody, every human, is what's in it for me, right? So if he or she is out working constantly on this business, and one day there's going to be a big payoff and we're going to have the house we want or the lifestyle we want, or life's going to be easier, or just fill in the blank, whatever that goal or success formula is for you, and then it doesn't come after all of the loss, of time and of focus and presence, especially if you have kids at home. My goodness, man, I've had many coming to Jesus moments with that one, where I'm stealing from my family and my kids are like, where's Papa? He's constantly working. I might work from home, but I was constantly moving, constantly out on job sites, constantly not there physically. And then when I was there, I was not present with them. I was physically like, oh, I showed up to their birthday, but my mind was, who texted me? What's this project going to, is it going through? It's not going to go through. Do we need some kind of augmentation to the permits? Are they happy with stuff? Are this client's pissed about this thing? And it zapped me. I couldn't sleep at night, all those things. I was robbing from all of my time for my family. Because that's, what? They love us. They're going to give us the grace of just accepting what we're doing. Our clients won't. They might write a bad review. They might get pissed off. They might so we have there's more fear and risk on the client side than there is on our family. Now, Wes, that's ass backwards. We know that. We know that deep down, but we're willing to risk that and gamble that away. So you wonder why our loved ones oftentimes will look at us like, do you really need to do that? Couldn't you be at this baseball game? Couldn't you be at this, fill in the blank space? Couldn't you go to the aquarium with us on Saturday? No, I got to work. For some reason, there's like this higher value, a higher calling. Like, that stuff is below me, that family stuff. That's your job. And I'm going to go out and make the money, right? That might be an old fashioned mindset. But the problem is your kids are watching.
That's a big thing, man.
They're not listening to your words. They're watching your actions, and you're modeling the right way to do it. So look in the mirror, man. If it's not what you expect or not what you want your kids to believe or want them to live their life like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100%. Now that one hits close to home for me. So, on the journey that we're on of self-improvement and self-discovery and self-awareness and entrepreneurship and all that, there's there's the fear of failure, and there's, the we can overcome any obstacle, and there's all this stuff that we're constantly working on to do good in business, and be successful as people. And when you go to counseling, I think typically they want to tie it to childhood. So they, and I talk about the surface stuff. Well, it's the fear of failure. This is why I'm doing all these things. And the counselor's like, yeah, but let's go to childhood. Let's talk about what happened there. Like, why are you, I explain, and it's hard for people to understand the depths and the amount of energy and time that we pour into businesses. Like, if you're not an entrepreneur, we must seem absolutely insane to other people. But talking to him and explaining to him the efforts and the lengths that I go through to make this thing successful, he wants to know why. Like, what is it about your childhood? So I look back, my father was extremely busy. He was very invested, and he had a business that he ran, and that took up a lot of his time. And then he had personal things that he was interested in, and that took up the rest of it. And so there wasn't a lot of time for me, and so when I made an oath to myself that when I have a family, I'll never do that. Never. Like, that's not going to be me. I'm going to bust my ass and make this thing successful and provide for my family. And my wife wants a swimming pool now, and my daughter wants this and that, whatever. And I'm working on the materialistic side of things. In the same breath, though, I'm not around. I've actually become the person I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And that's just thinking about it in those terms. I'm like, whew, oops, not important, not as important. I've got my priorities screwed up, and I need to put the family first. I say family first, but those were my words, not my actions.
Yeah.
Now I do put them first. And it's an awesome change. Yeah. And I didn't know too, is how close to the edge, like after going to counseling and we're talking back and forth with things, my wife was close, man. She was not happy. She was not satisfied. When you look back, she just turned 49, and, life kind of hits you square in the eyes. Then it's like, well, shit, did you get everything done? You start to think about retirement now, and like, we're on the other side of this thing. And have you enjoyed your life so far?
Yeah. Not
so much. Not with me. We haven't done, we've got some things that we've got time to make up for. So, but that's where we happen to be in that space now. We have been for a while, and it's just beautiful. It's amazing.
And what are some of the changes you made, and not even psychological changes, but the physical changes you made that your wife knows that now she's a priority and that you're making these shifts? So what are some of the steps you took along your journey?
Yeah. So it's the little things, it's the little things around the house. She needs help with the house stuff, taking the garbage out, doing these little things. Going back to what you said about being beneath me, like taking trash out and doing these chores around the house. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I was up to fucking midnight last night doing estimates. I didn't think of, it's all I eat, sleep, drink. I got to get up. I'm up at 4:00 taking cold showers, running up there, doing meditations. Like, I'm doing all this stuff. I can't take out trash. That's way beneath me. And I can't do these items in the house. Can't you? You've got a 9-to-5 job. Like, you're doing a great job keeping the house up. Keep up the good work. Like,
yeah.
But they do need help. It is a teamwork thing.
Yeah.
I'm not better than that. I need that. I need to take out that trash. That's a part of being a teammate and a partner in that house.
The crazy part, Wes? It's not even the garbage or the washing of the car, not the physical act that they're most interested in. It's the fact that you stopped and you did it. Yeah. That's the crazy part. They just want to see that your intent was right. Like, can you take the garbage out? It's not because they can't. It's not because they won't. It's because they want to see that you would do it for them. They want to make sure you're still connected and that you'll listen and that you'll help and add value and all that kind of stuff. And when you say no, you're saying, no, I don't have time for you, not for the garbage. That's how it's being taken. because they're testing all the time to make sure that you are still in this relationship as well. So be careful of those things. It's not a bad thing. They're simply trying to make sure they're checking you, because that's not their job. But thank God in relationships that there are those mechanisms back and forth, because as we get focused, my wife owns a business as well. And, she gets into her side of things at times, but we've, over the last almost 20 years now that we've known each other, we figure out a way to have that conversation and to know if we're becoming too distant from each other. And if I'm spending way too much time running businesses as opposed to spending time with family, and we've been through some of those rougher times where she's just like, okay, well, there was plenty of time where we'd walk along in our morning walks and she would talk and I would hear, I wouldn't listen. My mind is somewhere else. I've got all my stuff for the day, and my stuff is so much more important than her stuff talking about her friends or family, not the family side of things, but things that she might be doing that I'm kind of like, I hear blah, blah, blah in the background as we're walking along. And then 2 weeks later, she'll ask me a question about that just because it tied into something else we're talking about. And I'll have no clue what she said.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, are you actually listening or just hearing? And I'm like, I was hearing back then, not listening. And then I feel really bad because that's our time and it's being, kind of taken over by this other business stuff. So it has to be conscious again. It's like, no, conscious. You got to constantly keep checking, right? That's why meditation, all those things are so important to bring you back to present. And then when you go out for those walks or whatever you're doing, that you're present and listening. That's most of the time they just want to be listened to. That's the main thing. And we get so busy with our more important stuff that they feel like they're not important to you anymore.
Right. It's putting ourselves in the other person's shoes. We're always thinking about ourselves and where we're coming from, but from their side of things, my wife anyway, would always question, do I love her? Do I really love her? Because all she wants is these little things done and I'm not doing it. So if I do say I did a week of taking the trash out all the time, she would start to think, oh, you do love me. So, it's those little things, but that's the small chores, but actually being present, going places on the weekend, making them a priority, that it's those actions that prove that we do love them. Because when all we're doing is work, and we're not present with them and we don't do the little things they ask, what other feeling could they feel? Like they're not important.
Yep.
Obviously, they're not important. Obviously, we don't care about them as much as we care about our business. I think too, man, you got to be honest with yourself. And it's okay. You can have the conversation between you, yourself, and the wall. Do you love your business more than your family?
Yep.
There was times that I did. I certainly, deep down in my soul, I know that if push came to shove, I would choose my family. But my God, my actions sure said something else. And now I am in a definite headspace of my family is 1,000% first. I love my business and I definitely want to succeed, but it's family first, man.
No doubt, dude. And it's priority, right? Because, the family will give you space. They'll understand, but customers don't.
Right.
And banks don't, and equipment, payments don't. And, your any partners or whoever you're paying, like all the people you owe money to, they're not quite as understanding as your family. So you feel more fear toward them. So you want to keep everything in line. And then next thing you know, your family, does suffer in that sense, but it doesn't show up right away. It's the little things. It's the not taking the garbage out because you're too busy, or you're leaving an hour earlier every morning just in order to make sure your day goes easier. And dude, love of business. I've been through that too, where the business becomes my main focus and I kind of fall out of love with everything else except for that business. And sometimes it's monetary. Sometimes it's because I want to be successful in my own eyes. Sometimes it's going back to the childhood. I've been through those processes as well, because it all stems from that, right? And it's trying to make my father proud of me, right? By seeing all my actions and what I'm doing. So is that my motivator? And is that a healthy motivator for pushing forward? And I just want my family to think of me as successful. But is it worth stealing from them to get that illusion in your own head? Because success is different than what's in your head success is, right? So for them, it's a matter of you being present, providing, being the masculine man you are, like all of those kinds of things. That's success to them. But for you, it's about big bank accounts and lots of things that you can Here's going to be a kick in the nuts, not for you, but just for people listening.
Mm-hmm.
Making lots of money to make up for the regret you have in your soul of all the time you're stealing from them. Like, oh, so I'm going to work all these hours so I can make all this money so that we can go on a trip and I can be disconnected from you anyway, still on my phone working at home. And I can, right? Have we not all done that?
Oh, yeah.
I've been there 100 times, dude.
Right.
It's a nonstop cycle of regret and trying to then fulfill that with more money and more success so that the regret goes away, and it doesn't. The only way you get rid of the regret is by going back into those 4 F's that we talk about, starting with faith, family, fitness, finance. Those have to be on the agenda every single day. They all have to get attention, or you're going to start living a life of regret. And that is the worst fucking feeling there is constantly having that knot in your stomach, knowing you should be doing something. You should be at that soccer game. You should be at that rehearsal dinner. You should be out with your wife on date night, but you're not, because you're trying to prove something to yourself, and they're suffering for it.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. Like, we all do that as entrepreneurs. We all go through that process. I am absolutely down in the trenches with everybody with that, because I've been through it many times.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I guess it really starts with honesty with yourself too. I mean, you have to be honest with where you spend your time and where your heart is most of the time, and are you present or not, and all those things. Because just like I had this, I just had an employee come in yesterday. He lasted 1 day, and you could see when I was onboarding and doing the onboarding thing and talking to him, he was not listening and not paying attention, and his body language really spoke volumes. I'm like, man, this kid doesn't give a shit, and blah, 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 blah. Our wives, even though we come home, we may be bullshitting ourselves and bullshitting our wives. It's the body language and the little things around the dinner table, or how we treat them. Just how we can pick up. I mean, for anybody that's been in business long enough, I think we can all, as somebody, the way the guy walks through the door, like, fuck, he's not going to work out. Like, we know people so quick now. And that should be years and years and years of dealing with people. But our wives have been on this planet too, and they know how to read people. And so they can see through our bullshit. Maybe clearer than we can. So that's, and then they start to question themselves, and they have all their fears and all this shit. So yeah, got to start with being honest with yourself, honest with the situation, love the 4 F's, incorporate that. And this is good stuff.
No doubt, dude. And you're right. When it comes to business, is going to try to take as much, just like anything else, right? It'll take as much attention as you'll give it. And when you start to reprioritize exactly what's important to you, then things start to change. And it's what we like to call yes management, right? I've been working with my coach, my business and life coach, for years on yes management, and saying no to really good things so you can say yes to the biggest priorities. So it is a matter of, this might be painful for some people, and it was painful for me when I first started, is to look in the mirror, stare yourself square in the eyes, and ask yourself, what are my priorities? What do I want from life? And I'm sorry, but you can try to lie, but you can't lie when you're looking at yourself.
That's awesome.
And let yourself cry it out. Whatever it takes, it doesn't matter. Look at yourself with an honest look and say, what am I here for? What am I trying to achieve? What's success mean to me? All these kinds of things. Because once you start looking at yourself, you can't bullshit. It's straight back to the soul. Yeah. And then you start writing things down. And you say, you know what? I really don't know if I need all this, and this. Maybe the business is getting bigger than I want it to be, or maybe this isn't the business for me. Maybe what I need to do is pull back a little bit. Because the craziest part, Wes, is I find that when I start pulling back on some of those demands of my time and start saying no to certain things, business wise, that all of a sudden my family time is more present. It's much better. I feel better in those spaces. And then the craziest thing happens: the business starts to grow on its own.
Yeah.
Because I'm finally starting to get my priorities straight. And, it seems like a step backwards, but it's actually a tremendous step forward by getting those things right. But it takes that uncomfortable exercise of looking in the mirror and being brutally honest with yourself of what you see, and then not just what you see and beat yourself up, because we can all do that. I did that for years.
Oh yeah.
It's what's next. How are we going to fix that problem?
Yeah.
Right. We're solution monkeys here. So we're out there always looking to try to solve problems. So how are we going to do that? Who do I need? Right.
Yeah.
Who do I need in my life in order to help that, grow faster or to change? Who who do I have to be brutally honest with in my life that I've been playing and placating, that I've been talking to and just trying to keep them happy because I'm a people pleaser and becoming, as a recovering people pleaser myself, I felt like I kept saying yes to everybody and every opportunity because I didn't want to say no and all that. And who do I have to say, even if it's people that you love and are close to you, saying no is okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. And so important. That was great what you just said too. And that's, I was trying to do it all myself. I think classic, entrepreneurial problem of doing it all yourself instead of delegating and shipping some stuff off to other people. And when you force yourself to say, okay, no, I'm going to have some me time, I'm going to have some family time, you still have that, oh shit, but all this needs to get done. Okay, solution monkey, figure it out. Like, okay, who's going to do that for you? And I actually now have my bookkeeper now is amazing, and she's taking a lot off of my plate, and she's like hungry to take stuff off of my plate. So continually feeding her, and it's liberating, it's freeing. You can't do it all. You have to step back. It'll force you to, and like you said, I think stepping back, I feel more in control. It's more on my terms. I have the balance is better, and I believe we're making longer, bigger steps in the way of success. So it does. It's goofy. It's so hard to let that death grip go. You got to pry those fingers off that bone, but try it, because it's scary, but it definitely works. Yeah.
Wes, for most of my career, I was the guy, just like you, dude. Like everything, I had to do everything.
Yeah.
Because no one would do it as good as me. I didn't have the money to pay somebody. I had all the excuses, man. I had good ones too, like ones that were sunk in my soul.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. I'm like, there's no way anybody else could do that.
Right.
And when I started to listen to other business owners that had multiple businesses in different sectors, different industries, all that kind of stuff, I started like, how can they possibly do it? They're only one person. Bezos gets 24 hours. Wes, you and I get 24 hours. Right. How the hell can he scale a company as big as he did, and we can barely keep a landscaping company running, right? It's allocation of time, and it's the who not how mentality.
Right.
And his goal, and as is mine now, is how fast can I fire myself from my business?
Yeah.
That's my focus every day. How fast can I fire myself from my business as the owner? Because as the owner, you should be owning a business,
right?
Not doing the business,
right?
Right. And that's how I paint success. And it's not because I want to sit on a couch and eat, Cheetos all day long watching TV. That is not in my character. But the reality is I don't want to have the obligation of all those responsibilities when others do it better and faster than me. And they get such joy in it where I don't get as much joy in certain things. So I keep the things in business that I truly love to do.
Yep.
And the other stuff I hand off, who not how mentality, right? Handing those hats off. But it can be scary. Because it's like, oh, we don't have the money to do that. Or how do I teach somebody to do it? Or they're not going to do it the way I would do it. They wouldn't talk to my clients the way I would. That's where systems and processes come in, right? And then you start saying, this is how we do it. And the other person just follows those things. They're pretty simple to set up.
Yeah.
But the reality is knowing that it's what is your goal? What does success look like in business for you? And for me, it's owning multiple businesses that are running incredibly well by talented people that are getting joy every day from what they're doing. For the most part. Not every day is perfect. We get that. But, that's the case. So how fast can I fire myself? So if you out there listening, think about that. How fast could you fire yourself and get somebody else in your position? And it doesn't happen overnight. Just like Wes just said, bring a bookkeeper in. That's one of the first steps I usually tell people, get a bookkeeper and then just hand all that math off to them, right? And then just they manage that stuff in the background. You need to look over them once a month, but that's it. You take all that pressure off, all the payroll, all that stuff off your plate. Now, that gives you a little bit more time, but you do it slowly.
Yeah.
Incrementally. All right, maybe if Kathy's your bookkeeper, maybe Kathy could do this. I got a problem with QuickBooks. Hey, Kathy, how would you fix this problem? Oh, cool. Like, I don't want to do payroll anymore. Kathy, do you payroll? And she'd be like, yeah, I do payroll. Cool. How much is it? $14 a month. All right, cool. Whatever. Like it's stupid cheap. And you're like, all right, what's my time worth of my family? If I can get 2 hours back a week, is $14, $25, $100, whatever worth 2 hours with my family? Hell yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just unloading piece by piece. So it's not this monster mountain, just like when we climb the mountain in Colorado. It's a step at a time.
Right.
And eventually you're at the top, but it's the steps you got to take and not just think you're going to run to the top in 13 seconds because that's impossible. So that's how I was. And for the longest time, I kept thinking I had to do it instantly. And if it wasn't instant, I didn't get the gratification. And then I'm like, okay, well then what's the point of doing it at all? And then I would stop. Right. But it's the incremental growth that really sets that trajectory for your success. Right. You got to define success first. Right.
Yeah, 100%. Have to define success. Have to have that why factor. The why factor that gets you through all the bullshit, because it's not a straight line. There's ups and downs up the mountain. And not to look for, that was the big thing for me in Colorado, was all the stress and pressure and focus on reaching the top. It was, I came to a point where that's just, I saw how ridiculous that was and how frustrating that was and how negative that was, is just to focus on the next step and just keep repeating that. And that was one of the nuggets I took from Colorado, was just, set the success definition, get your why factor in line, set your priorities, make a game plan. Okay, today I only need to worry about this, this, and this. Yep. Just focus. Yeah.
And then what else can I hand off?
Yeah, right.
Fire yourself fast.
Oh man, that's kind of,
it's not easy. It's easy to talk about, but it's not the simplest path. There's a ton of trust, and trust is built within you first. Mm-hmm. You can always try to trust other people and it doesn't work and then you blame them. But the reality is trust is an inward game. You got to trust yourself first before you can trust other people.
Yeah.
And I have a famous saying that is, it's not a problem until it's a problem. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes I spun my wheels for years worry about all kinds of stuff. What could happen if I handed it off? And I'd stay up at night, and I was a nervous wreck at times, especially starting new businesses or new projects or whatever. And man, but I'm thinking, dude, that's like, worry is kind of like paying interest on a loan that I don't even have.
Yeah.
Think about it. I've heard that said many times that way. And I'm like, it is so true. It's like I'm paying on something that I don't even own. So why am I paying it? And 98% of the time, the shit doesn't happen anyway. So that just sounds like wasted time to me. It's easy to say that, but it's next to put that in and flip the card each time your brain starts going there. Your saboteurs come out and you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to fail.
Right.
It's going to happen. Watch. This guy failed. And you're like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Watch me. It's not going to happen this time.
Right. That's another one too. I just had that one post that obstacles are what we see when we lose sight of the goal or something along those lines. But, even today I've had last night and today I had some issues that started dragging me down the wormhole of negativity. And, it's like you're focusing on these obstacles again. These are stupid. Fuck this situation. It is what it is. You know what you got to do. There's no more time to invest thinking about it. Like, stop it. Move on. Those are the things that are beneath you. Not the taking out the trash, not the taking the next step. Worrying about shit. That should be beneath us. That's because 98% of that bullshit never happens. We have to protect ourselves and be smart and strategic and all those things, and we will. And there's a bunch of what ifs. But fuck it. Enjoy your life. Like, you're going to figure it all out. It's a crazy, we make it whatever it is. So if you want to, I just saw a t-shirt the other day. It said, or the t-shirt says, or maybe worrying will help. It's ridiculous. When does worrying about anything ever help? It doesn't. It's stupid. Move on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely, dude. And I want to spin this full circle back to, back to the conversation about family and business.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to our spouses. And I'm going to speak as as a man with a wife. And I guess I got to preference that today. But anyway, with that being the case, there's something that I learned a long time ago that, and some of you guys might have heard this before, but it's called the 5 love languages, right? I mentioned it earlier, but it's understanding how other people, how they receive best, right? You can give, if you're somebody who loves to give gifts, and most people give in their love language, believe it or not. So if somebody always giving you gifts, most likely they like getting gifts. It's not always the case, but if they write nice things, it's usually words of affirmation or acts of service. If they're always there to help you, like this, they usually give in their love language. But if you're giving somebody. I'm going to go through all those here in a moment so that listeners out there can be introduced to this idea, because it changed my life and how that my wife and my relationship dynamic worked. Because now once I understood her love language, I knew how to show her the highest level of love quickly, so I can do it all the time. And she's always reaffirmed that I'm present, because she knows that I know what she likes, that kind of thing. So, for me personally, I'm not someone who likes to get gifts. For me, it's words of affirmation, right? It's somebody just taking time and just saying something nice is that's more than enough for me. My wife, on the other hand, she likes that, but her highest level is gifts. She loves it. And it's not because she wants things. She can buy whatever she wants. It's not the point. The point is that there was thought. You went to a store. Like when I'm traveling, I'm always looking for something interesting that she couldn't get anywhere else. Because then when I bring it back to her, she will remember the place that I told her I bought it and the story around it. Every time she puts it on, she replays that story in her head. And to her, that makes her heart feel good. Yeah. Right. So that's the difference. And for me, I'm like, oh, it's a gift. Cool. I may or may not use it. For me, it's all practicality. So I don't wire those things to that. So if you're out there as a guy, or I guess even as a woman too, and you're struggling to communicate the love connection back and forth, here are the 5 love languages. So first is words of affirmation. So hearing or offering assurance through words. That's one piece. So saying, I love you, or just saying, hey, how was your day? Or, you know what, you did a really good job today, or you had a really rough day. Do you want to talk about it? Like, they need to have communication. That's a big piece. Second one is physical touch, and that just goes as it stands. So love is manifested as intimacy or presence, right? You get a touch on the arm, a kiss on the neck, a hug that lasts longer than just a squeeze quick, something that they can feel you. Like, that physical touch is super important, because then they know you're present and you're there with them. Third one is acts of service. So offering one's time, energy, or resources to benefit the other without expectation. So Wes, that's the big piece, is without the expectation. So, you're like, okay, the garbage, perfect example, so you're like, I'll take care of the garbage, honey. I got it. Yeah. It's garbage. Anybody that's able-bodied can do that. Right. But they want to know you're doing it, because they're like, oh, look at that. He loves me. She loves me. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. They're doing this for me. It's not the garbage. They don't care about that. Right. Clean the cat litter, stuff that seems below you. Reasonably, they're thinking, I just want to see if he'll do it or she'll do it. Right. Are they still connected, knowing that they're part of this family dynamic? The fourth one here is gifts. So love spoken as a surprise. The gifted object symbolizes thoughtfulness and validation of affection. Some people are wired that way. I'm not, but I'm not everybody, but knowing your spouse or knowing your friend group or whatever their love language is, and you can give in that language. That's a really nice part. And if you don't know and you don't want to ask, just watch. How are they giving? That typically is their language. Yeah. The last one here is quality time. So one-on-one time spent together, sharing experiences together as an expression of love. So that's just sitting down, watching a movie together, or going for a walk, or just spending quality time present with each other. That's a super important. So every one of us has all these in us, but there's one that is the highest, right? The highest one, the highest love language. And when you discover that about yourself and your spouse, then you guys can communicate through that love language. So that's how you bring your spouse along in this journey, because ideally, a business becomes a magnifier of you and your personality, right? It gives you a bigger stage to become a bigger, better version of yourself, right? Because you can empower teams and do all this other stuff. But if you don't know who you are, then who are you empowering? Is it just your ego? Or is it truly, because that's when your family starts to see your business as a major asset to your life, is the fact when they see it, it brings the best out in you, not the worst. Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. And dude, I love, the fact that you know your wife's love language. Yes. Just you know what that is. I know you love your wife. Like, I know she's a high priority in your life. She feels the same way. Yeah. So to the audience, or to anybody, to me, what's my wife's love language? What are those again? Like, I don't know it off the tip of my tongue. Yeah. But and that ties into too at the counseling. When you go through and you tell a non-entrepreneur, or I guess they are entrepreneurs, but the type of shit that we do, and you go, oh, I'm up at 4 a.m. and I do this and I do that and I blah, 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 all through the day. And it's like, wow, man, that's insane. The amount, how hard and what effort you put into your business. And so what if you put that kind of effort into your marriage? Woo, shit.
yeah, like,
Bang.
yeah, what do you do again for your, so how hard do you work at your relationship with your wife? How hard do you work at your relationship with your children and your family and all this? Oh, you don't have a mission statement for that. You don't have a definition of success for that. Like, all the things that we do for business. So that was a really hit me hard like that. So yes, learn your wife's love language. And that's funny too, because it was, let's see, it was my daughter's birthday coming up. And typically I would show up, at the last minute, and with a bunch of work on my mind, and kind of just be there as a, get through the birthday party, and then I'm back to work or whatever. This time I sat and I just thought, I just meditated on, hey, this birthday party's coming up for my daughter. What can I do? What can I do that will make my wife and my daughter super happy? Like, how can I make this great? And I thought about it and thought about it. I'm like, it's simple, man. She just needs a partner. She just needs help making sure everybody has drinks, making sure the food's out, making sure the garbage, make sure it's not piling up. Just be a team player on this thing. So I didn't say anything to her, and I went and did it, and she was like blown away. I sang happy birthday with a smile. I took pictures. I was invested. I was there for the first time, because I consciously made effort for this relationship, for this party, for everything. So that's a great question is, what if we put that much effort like we do into our businesses, into our families?
Yeah.
So
that's huge. We do all this, focus on what's our market segment, what's our, our perfect client avatar. We're willing to spend days figuring that stuff out. But what's your wife's favorite color?
Yeah, dude.
What's your kid's favorite meal?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like I ain't got time for that kind of stuff. That doesn't make any difference. But you take the love languages to another level by not just your spouse, but also family members. Yeah. They all have love languages. Your children.
Yeah.
Right. And I just turned 44 a couple of days ago. And for my birthday, it's always interesting to see what, how that works out as far as like gifts and things like that. Because my family knows that I'm not a gift guy. Right. If I want something, I go buy it. Right. I'm more practical that way.
Right.
But something to me that means a ton to my soul is when people write nice things, right? Or they write or create something, or they draw something that reminds them. So that to me is the words of affirmation, right? So my oldest son, he drew me my tattoo, my 3 chevrons, right? He took that chevrons and he put it in, and he made this whole thing about, on top it said 3, like something about primary colors. I forget the exact words, but he said, you're like primary colors. You need these 3 things and you can make anything in life out of them. And I'm like, you're 15. Right. So he writes this whole thing about it. And then at the end, he says, it says on top, it says, the way I see you, as loving, as kind, and as inspiring, and as a father of a 15-year-old boy, I'm like, that hit me right in the feels. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like tearing up, and I'm like, holy moly. But he made it like this incredible, like he put a lot of thought into it, and he said a beautiful word, especially at a time in life when kids are starting to kind of figure themselves out. And I was like, damn, right. And my youngest son, so my oldest, he likes words of affirmation. That's part of his love language too, right? It's probably they're developing now, but that's one of the main ones. And my youngest, he loves gifts. He just loves gifts. That's what he loves. People thinking of him and buying him stuff. He loves that. So he got me a hat and says, I'm the boss. so I'm like, but Oliver, everyone knows I'm the boss. It's not like I need to wear a hat for that, right? There's a presence, there's an energy with that. And he just laughs, but that's how he gives, right? So I'll wear the hat, of course. But it's interesting. But to understand your family's love language, there's an entire book about this, guys. I don't sell anything about this, but if you go out and look 5 love languages, you'll find that on Amazon. It'll teach you this stuff. And if you and your spouse read this, you may have some big aha moments. And if you can strategically lay out and word it in a way that your business becomes an intensifier of your love for that person, because it makes you more, because money is only a magnifier. It enhances what you are inside. Right. If you squeeze a lemon, you get lemon juice. You squeeze an orange, you get an orange juice. You can squeeze an orange all you want. You're not going to get pineapple juice out of it. So, when it comes to money, it's a magnifier. So if you're an awesome person and your family see that your business is intensify your amazingness, then they're going to be totally on board, and they're going to be your biggest support system. But when they feel like it's been that business is more of a priority and it gets more of your attention, and they start feeling like they're in competition for your attention with that business, they're going to try to put it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So you've got to make sure your job as the owner is to keep that balance. And the way you balance it is by understanding what your family needs of you and make sure you're over delivering there first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get into the business and run that, and it's all fun and games and it's good. But having them realize that business is an intensifier, and then as that business grows, your connection to your family grows. And when that happens, my friends, that's when life is successful.
You got it. Yep. That's the home run for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy too to get into the trap of man, she just doesn't understand how hard it is. Look at poor me, all this work, all this stress, all this stuff. I need you to be a supporting wife and just be there for me when I need you, and get out of my way when I need you out of my way, and all those things. But man, that's a selfish perspective, and but easy to get into. And
Sure.
You need to give effort in that side of your life too. You got to balance that thing out. So
yeah, they didn't sign up to get married or be in a relationship with you to be a punching bag or a fair weather friend.
Right.
That's not what it's about. They want to make sure that your priority is their relationship with you.
Right.
And that happens when you start to understand how they work and what their wiring is. And, that was such a powerful concept for my relationship with my wife. And it's allowed me to stay very present with her, understanding that I can be most efficient instead of trying to, constantly do acts of service. And she's kind of like, that's nice, but it's not really, ticking the box, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found out that gifts, and, in the beginning, I'm kind of like, really? I got to buy you shit to make you happy?
Damn.
You know what I mean? And so she's like, then she had to sit me down as a good wife would, and sit you down and say, it's not the buying of the gift. It can be a quarter, little plastic ring if it has some kind of meaning to it, but it's about the meaning and the thought process, and that you're willing to take the time and that they wire a meaning to it. So that's when you're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. So now you're not some materialistic bitch that just wants more stuff all the time. You know what I mean? That's not the case. It's more about, you just want to know that you were thought about, especially when you're traveling or you're working or whatever. Like, oh, wow, he was thinking of me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So,
and there it is again, actions, just find those little things. But man, that's so cool I got to tap back into that and find out. My wife is like that too. But see, she likes little gifts and things. So she likes to buy things. I took that because she has some bigger ticket things that she wants too.
Sure.
And I interpreted that like, oh, okay, she loves it when I buy her stuff, or she loves material things. Oh shit, I better work harder. Totally. I took her love language and was like, oh, well, I better stay away from her longer, to work harder, to get more money, to buy her stuff, and then she'll be happy. But the most important thing was spending time and being present. Yeah. It
is. Brother, I could talk to you all day long on this subject as we can keep going here. Yeah. But do you have any last thoughts you want to bestow on our listeners here before we wrap up?
Yeah, just take a little audit, man. Take a self audit, be honest with yourself. And we've all been through it and continue to go through it. There's no magic pill. There's no silver bullet. But look at your family situation and be honest. How much effort are you putting? As much effort as you are into your business, or in yourself too, man. Take care of yourself. Give yourself space. Give your family space. Take a break. And then when you're at work, boil it down, kick the living shit out of it, get in, get out. Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. Start handing those hats off. Let other people do their stuff and let them have fun with it while you're out with your family doing your stuff. 'Cause that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Wes, love and appreciate you, brother. Thank you for spending your most precious asset with us here, sharing your stories. And I hope everyone listening got something from this today. Again, you can get the 5 Love Languages on Amazon or anywhere, really. Just go take a look at it if that's interesting to you. But just when you read it, that's great. And just make sure that your spouse reads it as well. And then you guys will come together as maybe you go out to dinner one night and make it a date night, like where you kind of combine notes or check notes together and start giggling about, what it's like. And I've been married almost 20 years now, Wes. You know what I mean? And it's, my relationship just keeps getting better and better and better because we're communicating, as you're starting to find too. And it wasn't always perfect. There was times, especially when the kids were young, that it was a freaking struggle, right? Because there's so many things, and that's a whole nother podcast. But the reality is that It's taking the time and making the priority the relationship, and everything else. The crazy part is you're not going to be taking from your business then, because as you work your family better and better and everyone feels your presence and you're there and you're that person you should be anyway, next thing you know, your business starts to grow on its own. It's the craziest thing, but there's faith involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, brother. I'm going to let you go.
Yes,
everyone
sir.
out there, thank you for listening here. Hopefully you got some value today. If you have any questions on this or any other pointers, you can always reach out to me. hello@yes.express. We can, I'd love to chat with you about things that are possibly in your way in order to get you on a better journey and a better path. Wes, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to touch base with you?
Facebook's good. Wes Roberts Landscaping on Facebook. And I have a website too, wesrobertslandscaping.com. So.
Perfect. So, all right. So if you guys want to reach out to Wes and ask him any more questions based on what he said today, there you go. All right, guys. Keep living it. Get out there. Be dangerous. Focus on your family. We'll talk next week.
Peace out.